The world we knew was vanishing. The great ice, which had been our fortress for 1,000 generations, began to weep. The rivers became monsters, swallowing the paths of our ancestors. The land was changing, and we had to change with it. One by one, the sanctuaries were left behind. Silence returned to the places that once echoed with our songs. We packed our lives into bundles. Every stone, every needle, every scrap of fat was a piece of our future. The horizon called to us, not with fear, but with the promise of a world we had never seen. This was the Great Migration, an entire people moving as one, driven by the hunger for a new home. The ground was treacherous. Mud was a new enemy, a soft trap that slowed our march and tested our strength. No one was left behind. The wisdom of the old was as heavy and as precious as our stones. Life was exploding in the wake of the ice. Colors we had only seen in dreams were now blooming at our feet. The sky was no longer just white with snow, it was gray with rain. A new rhythm of the world was beginning. Our gear was under constant strain. The journey was a slow war of attrition against our equipment. The mammoth were moving north, but new life was moving in. We had to learn the patterns of these smaller, faster prey. We were being watched. The predators of the old world were also following the warmth, hunting the same path as us. The fires were smaller now, portable and urgent. We were a people of the path, not the hearth.
The bridges of the past were breaking. Every step forward was a finality. There was no going back.
The ice gave us its blood. Fresh water was everywhere, a luxury we had never known in the deep frost.
The stars remained our only constant. They were the maps burned into our memories, guiding us across the unknown.
Friction was our enemy. We learned to use the mud, greasing the runners of our sledges to glide over the soft earth. We entered the world of shadows. The forest was a wall of wood and needles, hiding both food and death. Wood became our new stone. It was light, flexible, and abundant. The age of the forest had begun. We discovered the strength of the fiber. Bark ropes were easier to make than sinew, allowing us to build larger things. The earth was sweet. These small jewels of flavor gave us the energy to push through the longest days. The world was becoming noisy. The silence of the tundra was replaced by the chaotic songs of 1,000 birds. We became architects of the moment. A home was no longer a place, but a skill we carried with us. We kept in contact across the valleys. Smoke signals were the voices of the tribe stretched across the miles. Every river was a test of unity. We held each other tight, refusing to let the current steal our future. New game required new tools. Thinner, sharper blades for the deer and the elk that now crossed our path. We were not the only kings of the forest. The great bears of the caves had moved into the woods, and they were hungry. We didn't hunt for glory anymore. We hunted for space. The fire was our shield against the giants of the green. The flavor was different, rich with the scent of the woods. Every meal was a celebration of a successful day's march. The journey was written on our bodies. Every mile was a scar, every step a testament to our endurance. The earth was becoming soft. After a lifetime of sleeping on stone and ice, the forest floor felt like a miracle. We learned to harvest the sky. Rain was no longer a curse, but a gift that kept our skins hydrated and our spirits high. The rivers were full of silver. We adapted our hunting to the water, learning the patience of the fishermen. A new bounty for a new world. The water gave us strength when the land was too thick to hunt. We mastered the smoke once again. Portable, light, and full of protein, dried fish was the fuel of the migration. We climbed into the clouds. The air grew thin, but our resolve grew thick. We were the masters of the heights. We studied the masters of the mountain. To survive the climb, we had to learn the balance of the goat and the vision of the eagle.
The ice didn't want to let us go. A final reminder of where we came from before we looked down into the future.
There it was, the promised land. A valley so vast and green it looked like the earth was breathing for the first time. Our pace quickened and gravity was our friend now, pulling us toward the warmth and the life that waited below.
The grass was an ocean. We moved through the waves of gold, feeling the sun on our faces for the first time in months.
We had found the new giants, not as large as the mammoth, but thousands in number. Hunger was now a ghost of the past.
We camped by the thunder of the water. The sound of the fall was the song of plenty, a shield against the silence of the tundra. We found the earth's plastic clay would allow us to build vessels that could hold the fire and the soup of our new home.
Our culture was taking shape. The bowl was a vessel of community, a way to share the warmth of the valley.
The valley was a pharmacy. We discovered plants that could heal the skin and calm the mind after the trauma of the trek. We found the liquid gold. Honey was the rarest treasure, a sweetness that made us feel like gods in a world of beasts.
Our identity evolved. The blue of the valley plants joined the red of the mountain ochre on our skin. We weren't just passing through. This fire was meant to last. We were building the foundation of a permanent memory.
Storage changed everything. The ability to carry more meant we could gather more than we could eat in a single day.
Stealth was our new power, Auriulet. In the grass, we were invisible. We extended our reach. The Atlal turned a man's arm into a catapult, bringing death from a distance. We thanked the spirit of the valley. Every life taken was a promise to the tribe that the winter would never win again. We were becoming harvesters of the field. The golden seeds of the valley became our daily bread.
The smell of baking was the smell of civilization. It was a scent that had never existed in the world of ice.
We used the chemistry of the trees. The tannin in the bark made our leather stronger and waterproof for the valley rains.
The children were safe. For the first time in memory, they could play without the constant threat of the freezing wind. We looked at the water as a path. The log was the first step toward conquering the great blue veins of the earth.
Our clothes became lighter. We shed the heavy mammoth skins, adapting our fashion to the warmth of the valley sun.
We carried the river with us, Aza. Beauty was no longer a luxury.
We found the heart of the mountain. A supply of flint meant we could arm the entire tribe for 1,000 hunts.
We hid our food from the predators. The underground smoke preserved the meat and kept the scent from the wolves.
We decided our future. The migration had been a success, but the world was still vast, and we were still explorers.
We thanked the spirits of the green. The drum was the bridge between the old ice and the new life.
The heavens were mirrored in the earth. We felt at peace, a part of a universe that was finally welcoming us. The first child born in the valley. A child of the grass, not the ice. A new chapter of humanity had begun. We honored our past. The tusk was a reminder of the giants that had fed us and the world we had left behind.
Our music changed. It was no longer a cry for help, but a song of joy that echoed through the trees.
We were a community. The migration had forged bonds that were stronger than any stone we had ever knapped.
We were creators. The fire that once only kept us warm was now making the tools of our civilization.
The dawn of a new era. The ice was gone, the tundra was distant, and the valley was ours.
We marked our territory. For the first time, we had a place that we didn't just inhabit, but owned. The migration never truly ends. The valley was home, but the horizon was still calling.
We are the wanderers. We are the explorers. The great lush valleys were behind us. Ahead lay the endless tundra, a bridge of land and ice that stretched to the end of the world.
The wind here had a voice, a low, constant growl that reminded us we were intruders in a land of giants. To walk on the sky, we had to widen our feet. The snowshoe was the key to unlocking the path across the deep white.
We glided where others sank. Innovation was our only defense against the exhaustion of the North. The King of the North was waiting. Faster and larger than any grizzly, the short-faced bear was the ultimate nightmare of the plains.
We were no longer hunting. We were defending our right to exist. In the open tundra, there was nowhere to hide.
Fire was the only language the beast understood. We used the sun's power to push back the shadows of the tundra. Even the giants feared the flame. We had won a temporary peace, but the cold was a far more patient hunter. We were ants walking in the shadow of mountains made of frozen time. The ice walls watched us with a cold, blue indifference. The tundra played tricks on the mind. We saw spirits in the mist and islands in the sky. Every step was a gamble. The earth was a living thing, shifting and cracking under the weight of our desperation.
We carried the spark of life in a box of stone. Without this fire, we lived in the cracks of the world. Our homes were as small as possible to hold the warmth of our bodies. Fat was our fuel. In the heart of the tundra, a single bite of marrow was the difference between waking up. The fox was our silent companion. It waited for our scraps, a tiny... We had reached the bridge, a continent-sized gateway of grass and silt, hidden between two oceans. No one knew they were the first. To us, it was just another day of walking, but to history, it was the birth of a new world.
The new land was alive. The earth breathed fire, a violent welcome to the people who had mastered the flame. It was snow that didn't melt. The ash of the volcanoes mixed with the ice, creating a world of gray and ghost light.
We found the stone of the gods, obsidian, sharper than any flint, a gift from the fire mountains for our spears.
This was the edge of civilization. With obsidian, our hunters became the most lethal force the earth had ever seen.
We found creatures from a forgotten time. The giant sloth was a mountain of meat, a prize that could feed the tribe for a moon.
We took only what we needed. Every kill was a prayer, an apology to the giants we were destined to replace.
The new world was a sea of life. The thunder of the bison herds was the heartbeat of the American plains.
The land was beautiful and brutal then. Fire was the master here, clearing the old to make room for the new.
We learned to run with the wind. To survive America, we had to be as fast as the flames and as resilient as the earth.
Death left behind a clean slate. In the ashes, we found the tracks of our future, clear and unobstructed. We left our mark in the new soil. Our stories were the first to be told in this land, written in ochre and ash. We perfected the spear. The fluted point was our signature, a masterpiece of engineering that defined an era.
We were not alone at the top. The saber-tooth was the guardian of the plains, a predator that forced us to stay united.
Man and cat fought for the throne. The fire was our only advantage, the light that pushed the ancient terror back into the night. We found the hidden water. In the dry plains, these blue eyes of the earth, we became creatures of the water. The cenote was life, a sacred depth that kept the tribe alive in the heat. We decorated our souls with the treasures of the land. Beauty was the sign that we were no longer just surviving. The land was too big for one tribe. We had to split, becoming the seeds of 100 different nations. The hardest journey was the one where we said goodbye. Some followed the sun toward the heat. They would find the jungles and the great mountains of the south. Others followed the dawn,
toward the Great Lakes and the endless woods of the east.
As the distance grew, our words changed. Dialects were born in the silence between the groups.
We entered the Emerald Hell, a world of infinite life and infinite danger, where the sun never touched the ground.
The air was water. The heat was a physical weight, pressing us into the mud of the rainforest floor.
We learned the secrets of the small. A tiny frog held the power of 100 spears in its skin. We mastered the silent kill. The blowpipe became the voice of the jungle, a weapon of shadows and stealth.
The jaguar was the god of the green. To survive here, we had to become like the cat, silent, patient, and lethal. We built with the jungle. Our homes were now made of leaves and light, woven into the fabric of the forest.
The taste of the sun. The jungle provided a feast that was as strange as it was beautiful.
The rivers were alive with monsters. We respected the ancient spirits that lived in the dark, slow waters.
We touched the sky. In the thin air of the Andes, we found a solitude that made us feel closer to the gods.
The condor was our guide. Its flight showed us the paths through the peaks, leading us to the hidden valleys.
We found the wool of the mountains. These creatures would become our companions and our survival.
We learned to spin the cold into warmth. Weaving was the new art of the high places.
We found the heart of the earth. This small, ugly root was a miracle of energy.
The first underground ovens fell. We learned to cook with the heat of the earth. Our prayers rose with the mist. We thanked the mountain for the llama and the root.
From the peaks to the dust, we faced the ultimate test of thirst, where the sun was a cruel master.
We squeezed life from the thorns. In the desert, every drop of water was a prayer answered. We built with the sun and the mud. These bricks were the seeds of the first cities. Stability was born. We were no longer guests of the cave. We were the builders of the home.
The desert stars were our ceiling. In the silence of the dunes, we felt the vastness of the world.
We wore the colors of the jungle and the desert. Our kings were born from the land they had mastered.
A world of white fire. The salt flats were a mirror of the sun, a beautiful desert.
We found the crystal of life, and salt allowed us to preserve the meat, conquering time itself.
We had reached the end of the world. The great water was the final boundary. The journey was complete. From the ice of the north to the blue of the south, we had walked across a planet.
The ocean provided. We didn't need the spear today. The tide left our dinner in the sand.
The fire tasted of the sea. We rested where the earth ended, listening to the rhythm of the waves. We looked at the horizon and wondered. The water was no longer a wall, but a challenge to our curiosity. The giants of the sea welcomed us. We were no longer hunters of the land alone. We were witnesses to the deep.
We learned from the birds. To survive the coast, we had to master the timing of the tides.
Our art turned blue. We told the stories of the tides and the creatures that lived beneath the foam. The ocean gave us new beauty. Red coral for luck, white shells for peace, a treasure from the abyss. We lived between the sky and the sea. The cliffs were our fortresses against the rising tides. The end of the sun's path. We had followed it across continents, and here, it finally went home.
We were the Pacific people now, bound by the salt and the sun. We had found our place in the world.
The migration had ended on land.
But the spirit of the explorer was just...
To conquer the deep blue, we needed a new kind of wood. Bamboo, light, hollow, and filled with the spirit of the wind.
We learned to weave the land into a vessel. The raft was our first bridge over the abyss, held together by hope and vine.
The first step off the land was the most terrifying. We were leaving the world of stone for a world of water.
We moved through the white silence. The coast vanished, and for the first time, humanity was truly alone with the sea.
The ocean was unstable, so we gave our boats wings. The outrigger was a stroke of genius that kept us upright in the storm.
We caught the breath of the gods. The sail turned the wind from an enemy into our strongest oarsman.
We read the ocean like a book. Every ripple, every change in warmth told us where the hidden lands lay.
The sea was full of magic. Creatures that could fly showed us that in this new world, anything was possible.
We drank the sky. On the salt water, fresh rain was the most precious gold we could gather.
Land, a tiny emerald in a desert of blue. The first island was a miracle found in the vastness.
A world of color. The islands were new kingdoms, untouched by the shadows of the old continents.
The tree of life. The coconut gave us water, meat, and fuel, allowing us to survive where no rivers flowed.
We met the ancient residents. Slow and steady, these giants reminded us that we were only visitors in their paradise. The reef was a garden of protein. We learned the colors of the fish, knowing which brought life and which brought poison.
Our fires now smelled of salt and palm. We were the masters of the islands, the kings of the tiny worlds.
One island was not enough. The horizon was a constant call, driving us deeper into the heart of the Pacific.
The stars were our map, and the waves were our road. We memorized the paths of the lights to find our way home.
The ocean had its guardians. We respected the Grey Hunters, knowing that in their world, we were the ones being tested. Survival was a team effort. A broken sail meant a journey into the void, so every stitch was a prayer. The birds were our scouts. They knew where the land hid, and we followed their wings through the blue desert.
We stored the sky. Our pottery allowed us to stay at sea for longer, pushing the boundaries of the known world.
We had reached the great southern land, a continent of red dust and strange spirits, isolated for millions of years.
The earth was fire. This red land was older than our memories, a place where the dream time began.
We saw beasts that defied logic, creatures that carried their young in pouches, masters of the hopping gait.
We mastered the physics of the air. The returning blade was our new signature, a weapon of grace and precision.
It was the first flying machine, a tool that extended our reach and returned to our hand like a loyal spirit.
We found the voice of the earth. The low hum of the wood echoed the heartbeat of the continent. Our art became dots. Every point was a star, a person, or a spirit, woven into the map of the dreaming.
Australia was a land of monsters. The giant lizard was a remnant of a forgotten age, a dragon in the red dust.
We became the masters of the landscape. By giving the land fire, we invited the new grass and the game to return.
The Billabong was our temple. In the dry heart of the land, water was the only god that mattered.
Food was hidden everywhere. We learned the secrets of the wood, finding protein in the deep heart of the roots.
We mimicked the birds. To hunt the emu, we had to become as tall and as silent as the trees.
We protected ourselves with the skin of the trees. Lightweight and strong, it was our armor against the spears of the desert. The spirit of the water. The serpent was the creator of the rivers, the one who brought the life-giving rain.
The ancient king of the North Bar. We respected the saltwater giant, the master of both the land and the sea.
We walked where the water vanished. The migration across Australia was a journey through the fire of the sun.
We learned the hidden wells. Even in the driest sand, life found a way to hold the liquid of survival.
We danced the history of the land. In the Corroboree, the ancestors lived again, breathing through our bodies.
The desert gave us its blood resin, allowed us to bond stone to wood, creating spears that never broke.
A creature that broke all the rules. The platypus was a reminder that we still had everything to learn about this world.
The spear was our long arm. With the woomera, we could strike the kangaroo from across the clearing.
The sweets of the sand. Every discovery was a lesson in the abundance of the seemingly empty desert.
The grandmother of the forest. These ancient trees were our markers, our homes, and our water storage.
The soul of the ocean. We found the white light of the sea hidden in the dark shell of the oyster.
We crossed the blue wall and went. Beyond the peaks lay the green forests and the endless beaches of the eastern coast.
The spirits of the south were fierce. We learned to share the forest with the small but angry masters of the dark. One land, many paths. We became the people of the desert, the people of the forest, and the people of the sea.
We built the kings of the sea. The catamaran was the ultimate vessel, stable enough to cross the entire world.
We were the children of the stars. The entire Pacific was our backyard, a world of water we called home.
We carried our food with us. The taro was the seed of our survival, a traveler just like us.
We brought the farm to the ocean. Our animals were part of the tribe, companions in the search for the next island.
The most remote speck of land pond. We had found the last corner of the earth, a place of wind and grass.
We wanted to be remembered. The stone would speak for us when our voices were gone, a monument to our journey.
We found the workshop of the gods' way. From this stone, we would carve the history of our endurance.
Every strike was a name. Every line was a generation. We were carving ourselves into the eternal heart of the island. We played with the power of the sea. Surfing was our tribute to the ocean, a dance on the edge of the abyss. We respected the fire that built the world. Pele was the mother of the islands, the one who gave and took away.
We wore the tree's tapa cloth, was the fabric of the islands, decorated with the patterns of the waves.
Our hands told the story. Every movement was a word, a map of the migrations that brought us here.
The fruit of the forest. One tree could feed a family for a lifetime, the true blessing of the tropical sun.
We were engineers of the tide. The traps worked while we slept.
Our skin was a map of the islands. Every tattoo was a voyage, a rank, a memory of the deep.
The power of the soul. We showed our...
We found the spirit of the forest in the stone. Jade was our most sacred treasure, a piece of the earth's heart.
The land of the long white cloud. We had found the last great wilderness, a world of green and mist.
We found the giants of the south, a bird that could not fly, a prize that would feed the entire village.
The earth was boiling. We learned to cook our food in the breath of the mountain, a gift from the underworld.
The forest provided. In the land of the moa, every root was a source of life during the rainy season.
The Lord of the Skies. We were no longer the only predators. We had to watch the heavens for the shadow of death.
We protected our home. The Pa was our fortress, a statement that we were here to stay.
The voice of the ocean. The shell called the tribes together, a signal that echoed across the bays.
We were many islands, but one people. The sea didn't divide us. It connected us in a network of blood and trade.
The migration had covered the planet. From the first fire to the last island, we had conquered the earth and the sea.
We are the children of the Great Migration. No matter how far we traveled,
the open plains were gone. Before us stood the Emerald Wall, a vertical world where the sun never reached the ground. We had to carve our way into existence. Every step was a battle against the relentless growth of the green. The air was thick and heavy, a humid blanket that clung to our skin. We were breathing the forest itself. To survive, we looked up. The sky was hidden behind 1,000 leaves, and the heights became our new territory. We became the masters of the canopy. From here, the world looked infinite, a carpet of life stretched to the horizon.
In the jungle, the smallest things were the deadliest. Beauty was often a warning we had to learn to read.
The spear was too long for the thicket. We invented the breath of death, the blowpipe, silent and lethal.
We became shadows in the deep green. Gravity was our ally. A single scratch from a poisoned dart, and the forest provided our meal.
The trees bled liquid gold. This resin was the glue of our civilization, binding our tools and our future. We brought the sun into the shadows. The resin torch allowed us to reclaim the night from the predators.
the giants were here too, but they were different. Smaller, fiercer, and hidden in the vines.
We shared the paths with the grey spirits. They were the architects of the forest, clearing the roads we traveled.
The earth hid its treasures. Deep beneath the rot, the forest offered roots that gave us the strength to endure.
For every poison, the jungle had a cure. We became students of the plants, the first doctors of the green.
Nothing was wasted. Even the smallest insects were a gift of life in a world where hunting was never guaranteed.
Nature provided its own vessels. Bamboo was the canteen of the migration, keeping us hydrated in the heat.
The sky collapsed every afternoon. The rain was a cleansing ritual, washing away the heat and the sweat of the march.
We adapted instantly. The forest gave us shelter even as it drenched us, a mother that was both harsh and kind.
The ground became water. In the swamps, we moved with fear, knowing that something always watched from the depths.
The ancient ones were the masters of the mud. We respected the boundary between the land and the water.
We rose above the mud. The stilt house was our first victory over the rising waters and the crawling threats.
Fire had to be protected from the damp. We carried the spark like a newborn child, never letting the humidity win.
Our voices were lost in the leaves, so we used the wood to speak. The drum was the heartbeat of the tribe.
We saw our reflections in the trees. The people of the forest watched us with old eyes, wondering at our fire.
We risked everything for sweetness. The higher the climb, the richer the reward.
Danger was silent. The forest was a web of predators, where one wrong step was the end of a journey.
We shed our furs for the skin of the trees. Bark cloth was the light, breathable armor of the tropics.
We mimicked the beauty of the birds. Our rituals became as colorful as the canopy, a celebration of life.
Where the forest meets the sea bar. The mangroves were a maze of roots.
We outsmarted the water. The trap was our silent hunter, feeding the tribe while we moved deeper into the green. In the heart of Africa, we met the kings of the mountain, a display of power that taught us the meaning of respect. We entered the spirit world. In the cloud forest, the line between the earth and the sky disappeared. We mastered the elements. No matter how hard the sky wept, our fire remained a defiant spark of humanity.
The night belonged to the spots. We kept our fires bright, knowing that the hunter of the dark was always near. We turned the forest's defense into our offense. Every plant was a potential weapon in our struggle for the throne. The sky turned black with wings. The cycle of the forest was a clock we used to plan our hunts. We learned from the insects. Their towers of clay taught us how to build walls that could withstand the heat.
We were not the only ones with tools left. In the forest, intelligence was a shame.
We discovered the fire in the fruit. Spices were the first medicines, cleaning our blood and waking our senses.
Earth became sacred. Every giant tree was a temple, a witness to the generations that passed beneath its boughs.
We conquered the gaps. The vine bridge was our first engineering marvel, a path suspended by the strength of nature.
We trusted the green. Every step was a test of faith in the materials of the world we had mastered.
We learned to sleep in the air. Above the snakes and the rot, the hammock was our cradle in the wild.
The sound of the heat lights. The chorus of the forest was a constant reminder that we were never truly alone.
The light had to fight to reach us. Every morning was a victory of the sun over the eternal shadows of the green. We became the forest. Our patterns mimicked the light and shadow of the leaves, the ultimate camouflage. The kitchen of the world. We learned to blend the flavors of the roots and the seeds into a feast of survival.
Our paths became veins. Through the heart of the continents, we carved a network that connected the tribes. The night has many eyes. We learned to watch the watchers, reading the forest through the eyes of its residents.
We turned the giants into vessels. The dugout canoe was our ticket to the rivers, the highways of the rainforest.
The water beckoned. We left the thorns of the trail for the smooth flow of the current, moving faster than ever before.
We were the blood in the veins of the forest. The river was a path through the heart of the mystery.
We met the masters of the flow. The otters were our guides, showing us the best places to find the silver of the river.
Even the fish used tools. In the jungle, every living thing had a strategy, a technique for the kill.
We found islands of flowers. The beauty of the water was a respite from the struggle of the deep woods.
The forest had a price. The heat and the water brought spirits of sickness that tested our will to continue.
We fought back with the forest's own blood. Bitter bark and crushed leaves were the shields of our health.
We wore the forest forever. Every mark was a victory over the fever, a symbol of a survivor. The sky was a rainbow. The birds were the messengers of the gods, carrying our dreams above the canopy.
We created space for humanity. The village was a light in the green dark. We learned to catch the many. The net was the harvest of the river, a feast woven from the strength of the vines. A creature of armor. We learned from its defense, seeing that sometimes the best way to survive was to hold fast.
We used the smoke as a shield. The smallest biters were our greatest annoyance, and fire was our only peace.
The forest was a generous host. For those who knew its secrets, the table was always full. We gave the forest a face. The masks allowed us to speak to the spirits of the wood, the ancestors of the green.
We returned to the source lands.
Death in the forest was a return like life.
The night was a cathedral. In the silver light, the forest became a place of magic and ancient memories. We learned to change. Like the lizard, we adapted our colors and our ways to match the world around us.
We found the meeting places where the earth gave up its minerals. The prey and the predator stood together in silence.
We left a legacy. The trails we blazed would become the roads of future empires, the first lines in the map of the world.
We were the people of the green bound by the humidity and the vines. We had found a home in the heart of the heat.
The forest didn't hold us forever. The horizon called again, offering a world of grass and light. We had conquered the deep jungle Karachi.
We emerged from the shadows into a world without walls, the Great Steppe, a horizon.
We watched the masters of the plains, Balan. They possessed the one thing we lacked, the power to outrun the wind itself.
To catch the wind, we had to bind it. The lasso was our first bridge between the world of men and the world of the beast.
It was a contract written in trust and sweat. We gave them protection, they gave us their legs, changing our destiny forever.
Suddenly, the world became small. On the back of a horse, a journey of moons became a journey of days. The steppe demanded a new weapon. Compact but lethal, the composite bow was a masterpiece of ancient engineering.
We became the centers of the plains. Speed and fire combined.
We built homes that could move with the herds. The yurt was our shell, a circle of warmth in the heart of the open cold.
We turned the grass into wool, and the wool into Wall's felt was the shield that kept the steppe wind at bay.
We recruited the kings of the sky. The eagle became our eyes, hunting the fox and the wolf across the white winter.
A partnership of predators, how? In the emptiness of the steppe, we learned that survival required many allies. But the path was blocked by giants of stone. The Himalayas, the roof of the world, stood between us and the south. We found the monks of the mountains. The yak was a tank of meat and milk, built for the thin air and the eternal snow. Every breath was a struggle. In the thin air of the peaks, the spirit of the migration was pushed to its absolute limit.
The ghost of the mountains was watching. A silent reminder that even here, at the top of the world, we were not alone.
Fire struggled to breathe, just like us. We protected the flame in the heart of the blizzard, our only anchor to life.
Our voices guide us.
The earth offered a new gift. Stone was no longer enough. We found the metal that would end the age of flint.
We tamed the blood of the earth me. In the mountain forges, the first metal blades were born.
The Bronze Age was whispering in the distance. With metal, we could carve through the forest and the bone with ease.
We crossed the frozen desert, a world of rock and light, where only the strongest hearts could beat. We left our marks for the wind to carry. Every flag was a prayer for those who fell, and a guide for those who followed.
We learned to hunt on the edge of the abyss. Balance was as important as the spear in the kingdom of the clouds.
The mountains hid the white gold. We traded the salt of the peaks for the grain of the valleys, the first roads of commerce.
From the ice to the fire, Dika. We faced the Gobi, a furnace of sand that guarded the path to the eastern lands. The ships of the desert. The camel was the only beast that could carry our thirst across the burning sands. The earth rose to swallow us up. In the heart of the storm, we learned that humility was
a miracle in the dust. The oasis was the heartbeat of the Silk Road, a sanctuary for the weary travelers.
We found the thread of the gods. A tiny worm offered a secret that would one day clothe the emperors of the world.
The Mother River. We had reached the cradle of the East, a land of silt and silver that promised a new beginning. The water was our road again. Through the karst mountains, we drifted into a landscape that felt like a dream. We found the grain of the sun. Rice would become the foundation of billions, the fuel for the greatest cities ever built.
We reshaped the mountains. Agriculture was our way of telling the earth that we were no longer just passing through.
We shared the labor with the strong Jella.
the buffalo and the man. We found a way to catch our thoughts. Before the ink, there was the fiber, the birth of the recorded word. A symbol for man, a symbol for mountain. We were no longer just speaking, we were leaving a legacy for the future.
The Great Migration was now a tide, a constant movement of people flowing across the arteries of the continents.
We were connected. The world was no longer a collection of lonely tribes, but a web of exchange and ideas.
Our old rivals followed us, the wolf and the man, two hunters sharing the same path across the endless grass.
We took the forest with us, son. Our flocks were our moving larder.
We took our strength to the afterlife. Even in death, the horse and the rider were inseparable spirits. The sky was our only map. In the emptiness of the steppe, the stars were the only landmarks that never moved.
The circle that changed everything. The wheel allowed us to carry the weight of our history without breaking our backs. We moved entire villages. The cart was the precursor to the city, a mobile home for the expanding human family. We found the leaf of clarity. Tea was the bitter medicine that kept the mind sharp and the body warm in the cold mist.
We built where the eagle nests. Security was found in the heights, far above the reach of those who would do us harm. Metal from the heavens. Before we mined the earth, we gathered the stars, meteoric iron, the strongest bone of the gods.
The sound of the future. The hammer on the anvil was the drumbeat of a new era.
We protected our power. The horse became a living fortress, a tank of flesh and bone for the coming battles. We were the masters of the plains. Hardened by the wind and the cold, we were the storm that would change history.
Every river has a beginning. In the heart of the mountains, we found the purity that sustained our long march.
We told the water where to flow. Innovation was our way of making the desert bloom with our labor. We celebrated the Earth's return. The harvest was the promise that the migration had finally found its roots.
We adapted our steps to every surface. From the mud of the jungle to the ice of the north, we were never stuck.
We were a river of light in the dark. Humanity refused to be stopped by the shadows of the mountains.
We built the first permanent paths. The bridge was our symbol of connection, a way to unite the divided lands. We saw the world as the gods see it. From the heights, the migration looked like a single, massive organism.
We wove our stories into the wool. The rug was the map of our journey, a tapestry of the lands we had crossed. The strength of the mare. We learned to live off our animals without killing them, a sustainable bond of survival.
A new day on the Great Plains. The sun was our constant companion, the witness to our endless endurance.
The old ways remained. Even as we built cities, the cave was our sanctuary from the ultimate cold.
We became as hard as the mountains. Armor was our second skin, a defense against a world that was becoming crowded.
We were no longer just families, we were nations. The first alliances were formed in the smoke of the council fire. We honored our brothers in arms. The horse was the soul of the steppe. The sound of the peaks, a call that signaled our presence to the valleys below, a claim of ownership.
We stopped moving, but we never stopped growing. The proto-city was the anchor of the migration, a hub of life. We protected our foundation. Good boots allowed us to walk across continents, the humble tool of the Great March.
Speed in the sky. The falcon was our messenger, our scout, and our pride.
The seasons were our masters. We moved with the cycle of the ice, always following the promise of the green.
We found life in the cracks. The most resilient plants gave us the most powerful medicines.
Ownership was born. We marked the world and the beasts to show that we had finally claimed our place. We moved like a storm. The dust of the migration was visible from space, a sign of the human tide. We had conquered the heights. From the roof of the world, we could see every path we had taken, and every path yet to come.
We were the masters of distance, the horse and the man, a partnership that had conquered the planet.
The Great Migration was nearly complete. We had walked, paddled, and ridden to The long march was over. In 50,000 years, a single spark from the heart of Africa. We stopped walking, but we never stopped moving. The migration of the feet became the migration of the mind. We tamed the wild grass grant. Agriculture was the anchor that tied us to the soil. We conquered hunger. By storing the sun's energy in the form of grain, we bought ourselves time.
Beauty followed utility. Our hands, once used only for the hunt, now crafted the vessels of our culture.
We gave our thought a body. Writing was the ultimate migration, carrying our voices across the boundaries of time and death.
We built our own mountains. The city walls were a statement of our permanence, a fortress for the new human spirit.
We reached for the heavens. From the mud of the Nile, we raised monuments that would challenge the stars themselves.
The stars were no longer just guides for the trail. They became the map of our gods and the clock of our destiny.
Trust became a currency. We traded the value of our sweat for the weight of the metal, connecting the world through gold. We gathered the world's wisdom. The library was the new campfire, where the stories of all tribes were preserved forever. The trails became roads. We paved the path of the migration with stone, ensuring that the world would always be connected. East met west. The migration had come full circle as the descendants of the first travelers traded silk for spice.
We reclaimed the oceans. The small rafts of our ancestors grew into giants of wood and canvas, ready to conquer the deep.
We filled the blanks. The world was no longer a mystery, but a masterpiece we had explored from pole to pole.
We harnessed the strength of the earth. The age of bone and stone was replaced by the age of iron and steam.
We conquered the night. The first fire had become a global glow.
The tribe had become a planet. Our villages had grown into cities of glass and light, housing billions of dreaming souls.
Speed became instant. Our words traveled faster than any horse, uniting the global family in a single heartbeat.
We finally took to the sky. The dream of the first hunter watching the eagle had become a reality of steel and wind.
We looked back from above. The Great Migration had led us to the ultimate vantage point, the edge of the infinite.
We entered the world of light. Information became the new land to explore. We mapped our own blueprint. We looked deep into the blood of our ancestors to find the story of our survival.
We are one. Beneath the skin, we all carry the dust of Africa and the spirit of the first traveler.
The journey continues. The migration is not a thing of the past, but a living fire in the eyes of every child. The earth was too small. The Great Migration has found a new horizon. The stars themselves are our next destination.
From the mud of the savanna to the dust of the moon, our footprints are the signatures of an unstoppable species.
We are still explorers. We send our eyes where our feet cannot yet go, searching for the next home for our tribe.
We have left our cradle. Our message travels to the end of the galaxy.
We are the Great Migration, a story of endurance, curiosity, and the eternal search for what lies beyond.
It all began with a spark, a small flame that gave us the courage to step into the dark. They are us. We are them. Their courage is our inheritance. Their survival is our life.
We must walk together. The lesson of the migration
is that we are stronger when we share the path.
We are learning to live with our home. The next migration is one of wisdom, protecting the earth that gave us everything.
There is no end to the journey. As long as there is a horizon, there will be someone to cross it.
Every first step is an echo of the Great March, a tiny movement that leads to a world of possibilities.
We are the wanderers of the universe.
Our signature is eternal. We were here, and we survived, and we will never be forgotten.
The circle is complete. One world, one tribe, one destiny. This is our story, the Great Migration, the greatest journey ever told.
Produced for the future of humanity. We are never truly still. The rhythm of the road is in our blood.
From the stone to the light port, our tools have changed, but our hands remain the same.
We carried the memory of the savanna across every desert on the planet.
We returned to the green as guardians, no longer as prey.
Even the abyss became our playground. We conquered the gravity of the land and the pressure of the sea.
The cold no longer scares us. We have built warmth in the most frozen corners of our world.
The oral tradition lives on. Our technology is just a new way to tell the oldest stories.
One beat, one heart. The rhythm of the migration echoes in every song we sing.
The ultimate frontier. The migration into the depths of our own consciousness has only just begun. We built a global mind. Every thought, every discovery, shared in the blink of an eye.
We are the planters of the future. Every action we take is a seed for the next 1,000 years.
We stand on the shoulders of giants. Every tower we build is a tribute to those who walked before us.
We leave pieces of our soul behind. History is the puzzle of our endurance.
No peak is too high. The ambition of the migration is the fuel of our progress.
The ancestors of the starships Pud. We began in a log, and we will end in the stars.
We celebrate our time. Every year is a new chapter in the saga of the Great Migration.
We fight the invisible predators now. The hunt has changed, but the stakes are just as high.
We wove our civilization. From the first fiber to the fabrics of the future.
We are the guardians of the blue marble. The migration has taught us how precious our home truly is.
Every connection is a victory. The migration is a story of building bridges, not walls.
The arteries of the world. We move more in a day than our ancestors moved in 1,000 years.
We captured the spirit of the world in art. Our symbols are the echoes of our long march.
The entire migration in the palm of your hand. We carry our history with us everywhere we go.
We didn't walk alone. Our companions shared the journey, a bond of blood that remains today.
We have returned to the sun for our power. The ultimate source of the first fire is now the engine of our future. The sound of the spirit. We gave the world a voice that can be heard across the valleys.
Within each of us is a universe. The migration is the story of how we learn to see.
We are a part of nature, not apart from it. Our history is woven into the earth's own skin.
Knowledge is the torch. We pass the light from one hand to the next, ensuring the march never stops.
We have woven a web of light. No traveler will ever be truly lost again.
The next great step is coming. The migration is eternal, a journey into the unknown. The day of the landwalker is ending. The era of the star traveler is beginning.
Remember the spark. Remember the courage. Remember the journey.
We are one. We are human.